Really early on in my time at ICARUS, there was a subject brought in from an operation in Japan. I've always wanted to go there because I've always been interested in the culture of the country, and we had a few artifacts that were on the to find list from the place. So when something was brought in from an operation there, you better believe that I was excited about it. What could it be? I wondered. I thought of the newly implemented coding system for subjects brought in and compared it to what it could possibly be. It was an AE-15, the Mazmune. A indicating an ancient artifact, and E indicating a weapon. The number 15 indicating the country of Japan. Maybe it was the fabled, long-lost sword of legend. Maybe it was an HHA-15, a ghost artifact, a yokai possessing a lost or discarded object. When the containment unit got closer, I could read the tag number on the side. It read, X Yellow 15327. I quickly scanned the pages of my coding guide to find out what this thing was. X was demonic. This thing was a demon. They'd actually brought a real demon in here. I was amazed at the possibilities of what this could mean. An actual demon was being brought into the place. I wasn't too worried of the color coding. A yellow indication meant that the subject was a mid-level threat, completely within my rank at the facility, and the 327 meant that it was to be housed in floor 3, room 27, also within the floors that I commonly worked. I wasn't even allowed to go beyond the 3rd floor, not yet anyway. The first time we studied this thing, it was pretty intense to witness something like that. I mean, I've seen things that most would say are entirely possible. Hell, I've even done things that I would once have called myself a liar for saying. But to actually see something like this was pretty remarkable. It was an Oni, a demon-like figure of Japanese myth. The beast was huge, so large, in fact, that it barely fit inside the containment unit in which it was placed, and felt much more comfortable in its room. It had a cobalt blue skin and was built like an ox. The monster had long, stringy white hair that hung down from its head, and had several twisting tusks and fanged teeth that stuck out of its mouth at several different odd angles. Its eyes were like rubies, set into the cornea within the white, a remarkable, shimmering red color. It only wore a loincloth made of an animal pelt. I couldn't believe such a thing existed. I was even more surprised when I found out why this thing was there with my own eyes, when it did the same thing to a fellow researcher that it did to bring it to the ire of the organization. It had torn apart and eaten a tourist in the forest of northern Japan, and a few days after it arrived at our facility, I watched a guy get too close. The Oni picked him up with 2 massive hands and lifted him high into the air. The man screamed as the beast crushed both his right arm and his right leg as it held him overhead. Then the thing lurched over and bit a large chunk out of the poor guy's abdomen, ripping right through his ribs with his twisted, tusk-like teeth. The guy shrieked in fear and pain, and I watched his intestines spill out onto the floor. The thing took another huge bite out of the guy, nearly splitting him in half, before it was gassed to sleep. It took a few hours to clean up that mess, and to be honest, most people would have been shocked by that. I was a bit shocked that I wasn't surprised by it, though. But considering the life I've lived leading up to that point, it wasn't much different. Just The source of blood was different, but much like my own origin story, I didn't intend to wind up a bloody mess. I made a mental note to not go anywhere near that thing. I chose to instead study it from afar.